Hello, everybody, wherever you may be. My name is Larry. My call sign is Kilo 7 Hotel November. I'd like to welcome you back to my shack here in Northwest Oregon. This is Ham Radio Live, show number 81. We're going to talk about a subject that is so wide that doesn't have a right answer to it. But it does. What's the best ham radio? What's the best ham radio for you? Doesn't matter what a report says. It doesn't. We're going to go over test questions today, I promise. One of the things I've missed is the test questions and trying to get them up to you because we want to help people get licensed. I know of 4 people now through the channel who've been helped, and that is just the most humbling thing in the world to me. You have no idea how much that means. Today's Friday, the 20th of November, 2020. We're going to talk about radio. I've had people bring up different radios on the channel, and I always say, great radio. It's a great radio. And when I think of it, if I know much about it. Now, let me share with you the rigs I've had to give you an idea of my experience with them and what I liked about them. Also, maybe something I didn't. Might be helpful for you to know. But one thing I can tell you is the right radio is a subjective issue. It depends on what you want. It depends on what you like. If it looks good to you, if it's something that appeals to you, and you are using the same good antenna and feed line, it's going to hear the same signal the other one does. I can just about guarantee that, okay? I've went all the way from 20-year-old radios to current models, and I can tell you that I don't think any of those radios would not have heard the same signal. That's the truth. It's the antenna that makes the big difference. If you have a good antenna, it's high enough, it will help you. But as for radios, what the best radio is really depends on what you like, what you're looking for, okay? Let me go through the radios I've owned, and I'll try and do it in order of the radios in terms of how I've done it. And I will tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, and I'll be honest and tell you the truth. But I will tell you that not one of these radios could not hear a signal that one of the others couldn't. And that goes all the way back 20 years. No joke. First one. First radio I ever owned, the Icom 7300. Icom 7300 came out in 2016, pardon me. Debuted in 16. It was the first software-defined radio that had a box with knobs, essentially. No SDR was ever made before this that had controls on it. Before that, they were computerized radios that connected to your computer and you controlled it via a mouse, okay? Best way to describe it. This made software-defined radio easy. Put it into the mainstream. Could fit on your shack desk anywhere. Small radio, not real huge. Has a nice touch screen, 4.3 inches. It's fully operational touchscreen control. The knobs are well laid out. The menu system's easy to understand. Now, what I didn't like about it. The only thing I didn't like about this radio, to be honest, I didn't care for the noise reduction. I thought the noise reduction was pretty weak. I didn't think that the digital noise reduction was really good on this rig. That's what I didn't like. I think that what it comes with far outweighs what it doesn't do well. You can record your CQ call. You can record incoming QSOs. I mean, there's radios out there that cost twice as much that don't do that, but this radio does. It's excellent for digital modes. It's wonderful for rag chews. It's a full 100-watt radio, and it does 160 to 6. It's a fantastic radio. One of the only downfalls, it only has one antenna out. That's it. So you can only hook up one antenna to it. Okay, so if you have multiple antennas, simple. Just get yourself an antenna switch. It's not that expensive, 40, 50 bucks. Just get an antenna switch. That'll give you different antenna inputs for the rig. But the back of the 7300 only has one, so keep that in mind. That's the Icom 7300. I found that the sound in the speaker was a little bit harsh. It didn't sound as full. Again, small speaker, small radio. It's not the radio's fault. It's just the way it's designed. That's all. And again, I'm a high proponent of the Heil PRAS system with the speaker. It just makes your radio sound like it should have in the first place. And every manufacturer, every one of them, has problem with the way their speakers sound, to be quite honest. And that's from somebody that has used radios for a long, long time. Okay? A long, long time. DXing on some of the best radios ever made. That's the truth. Next radio. This was my second radio. This is the Yaesu FTD X3000. I've actually owned 2 of them. Great radio. Has exceptional digital noise reduction. Exceptional. Doesn't get real watery, not too heavy-handed. The one thing I will tell you, the menu system's a bit clunky to me. It seemed a bit clunky. The price also seems to be, I just don't understand the pricing. The pricing, it's been as low as about $1,200 US. Now it's up to almost $1,700 US. It just goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It's not a new radio. It's been out for a while. It's a super heterodyne, but it's a good radio. The 3000 is great at DX. It's good at filtering your contour, your notch. Excellent on this radio. The 3000 is a wonderful radio. Used $1,000 to $1,200 now. You can get them as cheap, maybe as $800 or $900. Just make sure you get a quality rig. On the back, you get yourself multiple antenna connections. You get 2. Okay, that's a big deal. That's more than what the 7300 has. I believe it's 2. It might be 3 actually. No, it's 2. So that's the 3000. Great radio by Yaesu. And you know, the right buttons are there. The one I wish it had adjustable was DNR. I wish DNR was there. It isn't, but that's the 3000, okay? You're not getting a very expensive radio, but, you know, in terms of radios as they go, radios can cost over almost 20 grand. Do you realize that? Some high-end Icom rigs could cost over 20 grand. So, I mean, no, close to 20 grand, I should say. Not over, but close to. So, yeah, that's just the way it works. Okay, next was this one, and I love this radio. It's very similar in its appearance to the Elecraft K3 or K3S. This is the Kenwood TS590. In this iteration, it's the SG. The 590 Sugar Golf still available, still made by Kenwood. Fantastic sound. Very good noise reduction. This is excellent on its filtering. The filtering on this rig is outstanding. It has a very strong attenuator in it. I think that it was pretty easy to understand. The menu is pretty well laid out in it. It's a great radio. Now, is this something that easily hooks up? Or the first 2 I showed you easily hook up, say, to a monitor screen? No. The 590, like the 3000, has more than one antenna input. So if you have multiple antennas, you can plug more in. That's a good thing. The more connectivity you have, the better if you have multiple antennas. Try and keep that in mind because it does truly make a difference, okay? Now the next one. This goes way back. This is a Yaesu FT1000 Mark V field, okay? 200 watt, dual receive. This was put out in 2000. This radio was very expensive when it came out new. They're about $1,000 or so right now used. Multiple antenna inputs, full 200 watt out. Just make sure you get a good unit because they're getting up there in age. Some of the components can, wear down over time. And you do want to make sure that everything's working properly. Okay. So again, age on this is something to be very careful of. I would rather have a radio that doesn't have the perfect cosmetics, but is inside perfect rather than the other way around. Because who wants to look at a great looking radio that doesn't work right? And then you got to put in who knows how many hundreds of dollars to fix it. So, that's the Yaesu 1000. Great connectivity. It is very sensitive. It is an excellent noise reduction as well. Very good. That's a very good starter radio. All the controls are right there laid out. That's the one thing I love about that radio. All the controls for it are well laid out. They're right in front of you. All you have to do is just adjust them. No menus. It's pretty simple. Where's where we're at right now? This is, whoops, we missed one. Hold on, let me get back. There's one more we're missing. I don't want to miss this one. The last one in the group before we get to this one is this. Excuse me. This darn surgery, not helpful. This is a Flex Radio 6300. This is part of their signature series. It's part of the same series that Flex is building right now. Now, you might be asking, where are the controls? Yeah, they go into a computer. So this plugs into your PC, and you control everything from your PC. That might sound weird to people who think a radio should have knobs and switches, and I get that, but these are great radios. They really are. You just control it with your computer. And Flex also does sell a handheld unit that you can hold in your hand. It's about 12 inches or so wide and about maybe 7 or 8 inches high. It's called the Maestro. Hooks up to your Wi-Fi. The radio and the Maestro hook up to Wi-Fi. You can control that radio anywhere in the world. Take it with you on vacation. Turn on your radio from Hawaii or wherever and use your radio. It's great. You can use it downstairs if you're relaxing or upstairs if you're in bed, whatever you want to work the ham bands. The Maestro lets you do that. That's one of the cool things about the Flex. And I know the K4 will be having something similar. So again, there's no knobs or buttons on this, but the 6300 and the 64 and the 66 and the 67, they're all part of the same series. They all do relatively the same thing. The difference is how many receivers you get in each one of these, okay? It depends. They call them slices, not receivers in Flex World. So you get a different amount of receivers depending upon which one you want, okay? Great radio. The Apache Labs Anon. Great radio. Built in Australia. They put nothing but the best high-level hams went and built that radio. They're great. The Anon's a great radio. There are so many radios you just don't find at your local ham radio store, okay? Flex is one of them. Elecraft can be one of them. Apache Labs can be one of them. Those are great products. Now, again, it comes down to this. Now, okay, here's where I'm at now. Okay, this is where my current radio is. This is the new Yaesu FTDX101MP, all right? It's a software-defined hybrid. So in essence, it takes in a 9 kilohertz incoming filter, 9 hertz incoming filter, and then it basically mixes it into a digital signal. So it becomes what's known as a hybrid SDR. It's not a direct sampling SDR. It is a hybrid SDR, okay? So Yaesu folks say it gives you better sensitivity and selectivity. Now, on the other end of this, from Elecraft, the new K4 HD, that's going to be their super het SDR, similar to what this is. They say the same thing. You can get better sensitivity and selectivity out of doing it that way. I don't know. The point is, I believe this radio hears the same thing that the 7300, the 590, the 1000, that all of the rest of them heard. I think every single signal was heard the same. Maybe the IMD, where maybe signals are real close to each other, they might have been affected a little bit. And that could have been noted by really high-end contesters or DXers. That's a very small percentage of the ham radio world, my friends. When it comes to the right radio, it's what you want. Because most radios are going to transmit the same way. You're going to get 100 watts out or 200. They're going to either broadcast their signal, meaning they're going to be able to take their digital signal and put it on a big screen. Only a few radios do that. Your Flex, the K4, the 101, D and MP, the Icom 7610, all do that. Otherwise, you use a software-defined dongle, like from an SDR Play, a Raspberry or something like that, Raspberry Pi. You just run it through there and it goes onto a screen. But with certain radios, you don't need to do that, like the 101 or the 7610 or the K4 or any Flex radio, or, they all do it. So it's all native. If you want to see your radio on a big screen and see it like this, let me move this camera out so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. If you want your radio display to look like that, only certain radios do that. Look into it, okay? 7300 won't do that. It won't. It can't. You can do it with the help of a Raspberry Pi, but it's not going to natively plug in and go right into your monitor. If that's important to you, that limits the amount of radios that you've got to choose from. But if you're looking for a good radio that's going to pick up good DX and hear good stations and make you nice calls, take your pick. Sorry me if I bang the mic. Take your pick. They're all over the place. And just about everything is a great radio right now. But the one that speaks to you is the right one. Mine's not better than yours. It just is ranked differently. It's just a different radio. Buy the radio you love, and you'll hold on to it for as long as you want and be happy with it. There is no such thing as the perfect radio. If there were, we would all be owning it, and all the others would be off by the side of the road. Keep that in mind. Hi, Eric. Welcome to the show. Brand new ham. Licensed last week. This is Kilo Charlie 3, Quebec Kilo Juliet. Eric, I still say you should use Kilo Charlie 3, Queen King Jack. I think it's the greatest call in the history ever. I mean that. Oh, it's hard to laugh. Okay, few test questions. We're not going to probably make too many calls. We'll see if we can do CQ calling today. I'm not sure we'll be able to, but we'll try. Okay, at the end of show 79, we talked a little about tropospheric ducting. Don't want to get this messed up. It's too important. Tropospheric ducting, I said, happens over the oceans. Okay, typically happens over frontal boundaries. I had that wrong. I'm thinking of chordal hop. Tropospheric ducting happen over frontal boundaries, and often they're thicker, meaning that the density of tropospheric ducting tends to be greater in tropical areas. It can go as high as 20 kilometers up off the surface of the Earth. So, tropospheric ducting is pretty cool. And as I stated in the video, you see what happens? The signal doesn't go up and bounce back down and up and bounce back down. It stays up there bouncing around. It means you get longer DX. Your signal will go farther because of tropospheric ducting. That's important for new hams to know. Eric, you're welcome. Congratulations. Brand new ham. We're glad to have you. Okay, let's get on with the questions real quick. This is general today. Which of the following steps must an amateur operator take to ensure compliance with RF safety regulations when transmitter power exceeds levels specified in FCC Part 97.13? Now, we cannot go above what the FCC says, okay? So we have to make sure we don't. So whenever we do something like add an amplifier, add an antenna, those two things are big because they can affect your station and the way it transmits. So the answer is C, perform a routine RF exposure evaluation. Use EasyNet. Use one of the software programs that are readily available on the internet. It'll help you figure that out. Again, amplifier, antenna, those two things make a big difference. Make sure you do a reevaluation of your station when you change. Next question is hugely important for all hams. This is the money question of the money questions I can give you. What is the minimum wire size that may be safely used for a circuit that draws up to 20 amperes of continuous current? Is it A, average wire gauge number 20, B, average wire gauge number 16, C, average wire gauge number 10, or D, average wire gauge number 8? All right. This is huge. Let me explain why real quick. All right, there we go. I knew I had it. Let me show you real quick. Your bedroom is most likely wired for 15 amps. The lower the gauge goes, the thicker the wire gets, okay? This is number 10. So this is number 10 wire gauge, okay? When you go to 14 or 16, it's smaller in diameter. It means it's not going to handle as much amperage. That's why you need thicker wire. It's going to handle more power. Now, most bedrooms are where hams will put their stations. The problem is most bedrooms are wired for 15 amps. When you have 15 amps and you're trying to run a radio, then you buy an amplifier, you've just popped that circuit breaker over and over again at 15 amps. What you don't want to do is you don't want to just throw a 20 amp circuit breaker in there and call it Good. Hey, we're done. No, because you could have a fire to do that. You could destroy your home doing that. Look at the question again, and this will explain everything about why you don't do this. Average wire gauge 12 is what you need for a 20 amp circuit. If you're using the typical 15 amp that the National Electrical Code prescribes in the United States, for a 15 amp circuit, you're using average wire gauge 14. Okay? 14. That's a smaller diameter wire. The other thing is you have also the actual plug-in. That's also rated for the ampere of the circuit. Your bedroom is currently wired with 15 amp circuit plugs. Now, it doesn't do enough to just put a 20 amp circuit breaker in place of the 15 amp and then put 20 amp plugs in place of the 15 amp plugs, because the wire between the main power box and that bedroom is still too small to cover 20 amps. They'll overheat and they can cause a fire and destroy your home. They could kill your family. Don't do it. Don't ever do it. Instead, spend the extra money, wire it the right way, get yourself the right gauge wire, just wire a new circuit in there, or have an electrician come do it for you. But don't go and throw a 20 amp circuit breaker on a 15 amp bedroom circuit and then just put 20 amp plugs in, because you're going to cause yourself more trouble than you ever thought possible. And it just isn't worth it. If there's one question of all the questions I can teach you to please remember, that's the one. Okay? And the reason for it is because we survived a house fire here. We did. And it's not a pleasant experience. Which of the following frequencies available to control operator holding a general class license? Every one of them. This is all on 10 meters. All of these frequencies are available to a general class operator. Yeah. So if you're on 10, okay, you're going to be at 28.3. That's the beginning, okay, of the phone segment. But for digital, 28 megahertz, all the way to 29.7. That's the limit. So all of these choices given are correct. Yeah. So there's your answer there. So sometimes it's good to take a look at it carefully before you answer the question, because they might all be right. Okay. Next one. When must you add the special identifier AG after your call sign if you're a technician class and have a CSCE for general class operator privileges, but the FCC has not yet posted your upgrade on the website? What does this mean? Well, it means that you've tested and your volunteer examiners have given you a certificate of completion for passing the general class license, but the FCC hasn't registered it yet. What do? You can still use it. The only thing is you just use it whenever you're using something on the general class frequency band. That's it. Just, you have to say your call sign and AG, and that's it. It'll help you to be able to make sure people know, hey, you're a technician. What are you doing up here? No, AG, I passed. That's all. It's just to help you, okay? So that's good advice for people who pass their license and exam up. That's what we want you to do. One other thing, last time we talked about a question regarding if a technician used an amateur extra license class frequency, if they could do that. And I used the example, license up to general. I meant extra. License up to extra if you want to use that portion of the band. That's the only answer you have. Now, extras only get about 3% more frequencies than generals. That's why we focus really hard on techs and generals here. But if you want to do the extra, please do so. You can do it. If 50 questions in the U.S., you can pass it. If you've passed one, you can pass 3. You can do it. I know you can. All right. Next few questions. The AG again comes only after you pass the test, but before the FCC gives you your license, okay? When it's in the database. That's pretty much it. Okay, next question. Under what circumstances, and this is an interesting question, under what circumstance, I'm trying to get, I have this gigantic picture on my screen. I'm trying to get it off. Okay. Under what circumstances are messages that are sent via digital mode? So this is going to be like Morse code, or it could be FT8, or it could be PSK31, a whole number of modes, okay? So under what circumstances are messages that are sent via digital modes exempt from Part 97, third-party rules that apply to other modes of communication? Is it A, under no circumstances, meaning that are they exempt from the FCC Part 97 rules? Are there any? B, when messages are encrypted. C, when messages are not encrypted. D, when under automatic control. The answer is A. You cannot do anything outside of the Part 97 rules in the FCC, digitally or by phone. It's the rule. It's the law. It's the way it works, okay? One thing that kind of stretches things, and a lot of hams do it, and it's not something that, and I'd be honest, I've done it a few times, and it's the wrong thing to do, and that is to use something other than a foreign language when you're talking to an outside station. For example, you might say something in Japanese to a person in Tokyo, and it might be a lot of words. The FCC rule says you must only use English. Okay? Not all hams do it. I'm one of them. I've made the mistake. I've done it. But please keep that in mind. You might have heard it on some of the shows that we've done or other people's shows. Try to remember, please, to use the English language only, because that's what the FCC requires, okay? Just something to keep in mind. I'm guilty too. What frequency should be used to send a distress call? The answer is any doggone frequency you can find. Best way to describe it. Whichever frequency has the best chance of communicating the distress message, okay? There's other chances given, other choices given, but man, you're in a hurry. You've got to send a distress call. Perhaps there's an earthquake, a terrible hurricane, whatever. You have a ham light radio, and even if you're a technician, you get on that radio and you call for help. That's what you do, because you're allowed to do that. That's part of the reason the hams exist, okay? Right, we're here. What is the most common frequency shift for radio teletype communications for new hams? That's radio teletype, RTTY. Emissions are in the amateur HF bands. Now, frequency shift, is basically the distance, okay? The frequency shift, how much it will shift in width. That's width of the frequency. So bandwidth, it's 170 hertz. That's the common frequency shift for radio teletype, okay? So 170, keep that in mind for radio teletype. Not likely to fall upon your test, but if it does, remember 170 for RTTY. What is the solar flux index? A measure of the highest frequency that is useful for ionospheric propagation between 2 points on Earth. Nope. That's MUF, maximum usable frequency, okay? B, a count of sunspots, which is adjusted for solar emissions. Sounds plausible. C, another name for the American sunspot number. Nope. It is actually D, a measure of solar radiation at 10.7 centimeters wavelength. Okay, now that's way up there, okay? No question, we're way up in the microwave part of the band. But the point is that we get the solar flux number up there because that's the most accurate way to get it to you. That's what they use. The forecasters and meteorologists that do all of this know a lot more about that than I think I do, and I will bow to them because they know better. That's just the correct answer. Remember, it is the measurement at 10.7 centimeter band, okay? Last question. What is normally meant by operating a transceiver in split mode? Is it A, the radio is operating at half power? B, the transceiver is operating from an external power source? Is it C, the transceiver is set to different transmit and receive frequencies? Or D, the transmitter is emitting an SSB signal as opposed to a DSB operation? Okay. It is C, the transceiver is set to transmit and receive on different frequencies. So when you're in split, you might have a person just saying, hey, I'm at 7150, I'm up 5. So they're transmitting at 7150, they're listening at 7155. Split. That's all it means, okay? welcome to the show. Today is 20th of November 2020. Not sure about CQ calling. If it does happen tonight, it will be at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 0100 Zulu in on Saturday. Excuse me. A little sore. So that's it. And please join us. We'd love to have you. It is powered by MFJ. MFJ has everything from chokes. And thanks for the chokes, guys. They have choked all the noise out of my station and signal to you from the 700 B4, A4, C4, and B4 chokes. Crystal clear audio. Thank you guys from MFJ. They will take care of everything. And that'll be tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific, if I can make it work. If I can't, promise to come on next Friday to do it. Just feeling sore. Thought I would try a couple of test shows, see how it goes, and get through it, okay? Let's try and use the rig cam, see if you can make me make a call, okay? One call.
The exodus from the Golden State, which is too big. What a beautiful state that is. I've been out there many, many times. What a beautiful state, and they're just destroying it, the politicians. And as the good book says, put no trust in man. And that's a problem. A lot of people are leaving, and they're going to Oregon or Washington.
They're
or
not
Idaho.
coming here, buddy. They're leaving here too. Next frequency. Okay. Yeah. Something else we were taught not to talk about politics. I'm biting my tongue. Again, we're on 17. 17 meters right now in the Pacific Northwest.
Name here at
We'll tune up here on 17. By the way, windstorm that we had here was so bad. It knocked trees down, power lines down, fences down. But the vertical survived. Yes, the AV680 high gain vertical survived. One vertical tube came off. Just one. That's not bad considering the winds were that bad. I can put the tube back on when the weather improves and I feel better. And honestly, even the friction mount, the 1907 MFJ, this is a fiberglass antenna that's very light and you just twist it to lock it in place, right? This thing only went down one section. It was 30 feet up. I was blown away. Truly, I don't talk that much about products that blow me away like that. But for fences and trees to come down and just a twist clamp, not a compression clamp, twist clamp type of, extendable mast antenna to only drop one and not fall over or anything, that's unbelievable. That's a great mast. We've got a lot of frequencies right against each other here. Let's do this. Tell you what, let's just go up a little high. We'll go up to 150. We'll check frequency. We'll see if we can get somebody open. People are on 17. That means they're watching. So we'll make a couple of CQ calls to see who comes back to us today. If we don't make CQ calling, at least we're calling here, right? Thanks for coming. I appreciate you being here. I really mean that. Thank you, guys. Yesterday, it wasn't hard not to do a show because I honestly just didn't feel very good. But today, I felt, let's give it a shot. We're on 17. We're at 18150. 150. Remember, listen first. We're going to go up to 151. So 18151. We only went up 1 kilohertz, but that's okay. We'll tune again. For new hams, you tune the antenna. We find an impedance match between the radio and the antenna. That makes both happy. Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Notice no feedback on the mic. Thank you, MFJ. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. All right, let's give it a shot. CQ on 17. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Calling CQ. CQ. Live on ham radio, live on YouTube. Calling any station anywhere. This is Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, calling CQ and listening. Oh, sounds like someone's there. Yep. CQ 17 Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ. CQ, live on ham radio, live on YouTube. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, calling CQ to any station, anywhere, and listening. Look at the activity on 17. A lot of signals there. CQ, 17 meters, live on ham radio, live on YouTube. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ. CQ, any station, anywhere. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, calling CQ, live on ham radio, live on YouTube, and listening. Phew. That's a lot of talking. Tell you what, let's move. I don't hear anybody here.
We've really gone off
This guy's
the
on the
rails
5.
here, and it's too bad. I feel real sad at the hate and the disparaging stuff that's going on out there. People.
We'll try and make a quick contact to say hello and call the show. Okay, guys, this is getting a little hard to sit, and the ice is no longer cold on the side.
Because I'm trying to speak some logic here. Anyway, Gene, back to you. KB7, Mike, Kilo, Charlie, Kilo, Baker, Zero, Echo, Oscar.
Yeah, let's just get away from this one. I think it's best. I mean, I have my own political views, but I don't share them here. That's just it. I think it's best to just leave that alone. So we'll go to 20 meters. We'll leave it, see what we got, and hopefully make a call or two.
Relay go.
Okay, so that's a net. Not like in Funicello. It's a ham radio net.
Now, and Bob, I do plan on being on that local festival net this evening. So,
once again, getting back to ham radios, whatever ham radio you like, whichever one really makes you smile, get it or work your way up to it. But eventually get what you want. You'll be happy with it, and you're not going to be sacrificing. You'll be happy. That's all that matters.
Yeah, AD0VA and the group W6KC.
Okay, that's another net, so we're getting into the nets here. And keep in mind, I try and stay away from nets unless I can get a hold of them prior to the show to let them know we'd like to be there. I think it's fair. I think it's right to let people know, you know. I don't like to surprise people on nets and then just all of a sudden show up. And, oh, by the way, here we are. Hi, you're live on YouTube, everybody. That's not a good thing. Hang on.
Okay, the QRP station, go ahead again.
QRP again, low power. They're working low
Okay,
power.
Kilo India Zero Golf Lima. All right, very good. Stand by for just a second. I got to switch an antenna for you.
QRP is great people. I love QRP. QRP is working minimal power, usually 5 to 10 watts.
Okay, Kilo India Zero Golf Lima. This is KC9RF. We switched the other antenna over there. Yeah, handle is Bob. We're in northern Wisconsin, so back to you. Kilo India Zero Golf Lima, and this is KC9RF.
I don't want to mess in that because that's a QRP, and you know those are more difficult to do. I think we'll call it a show. We'll wrap it here. Okay, guys. We'll try and come back later. Hi there, Ron. Good to see you. Welcome, Victor Alpha 3, Foxtrot Union Charlie. Thanks for coming. We're going to wrap it, guys. Getting too sore. This ice bag is no longer cold. So, and my side is screaming. So we will talk to you maybe later tonight. I don't know if I'll be able to do CQ calling physically, but if I can, I'll be here. If not, you'll be sure I'll be here next Friday. My health will be better at that point because we'll be further away from surgery. So hope things helped. Again, whatever radio you want is the best for you, whether it's Apache Labs, Ellicraft, Icom, Kenwood, whatever. There's great radios that are out there, and you will fall in love with the one that fits you best. There's no such thing as a bad radio out there. Okay, there isn't. If you love it, that's all that matters. Don't get hung up with the big, hey, I got to get that radio because that's highly ranked on this list. Don't do that. Buy the radio you like. Research it. Look at it on YouTube. Listen to people using it. Watch people use it. Ask questions about it. Check eHAM reviews. Do whatever you need to do. But once you're finished, make sure that's what you want. Then go get it, okay? It's been my pleasure to host the program. Please subscribe, hit the bell icon. It will help people find the channel. I'm out of gas. Until next time, guys, God bless you. Thanks for watching the channel. Eric, Ron, everyone who was here, God bless you. Thanks for watching. This is Larry. Until next time, thanks for coming to the shack. It's my honor and privilege. My name is Larry, Kilo 7 Hotel November. Goodbye, everybody.